I decided to spend a weekend alone at my cabin-style house on the outskirts of town. It was untotally secluded. There were other homes nearby, but they were so spread out you could go days without seeing anyone. I never got unexpected visitors. Most people just drove past this area without even noticing the houses tucked between the trees. Unless you stared hard, all you'd see was an endless wall of forest. Winter had just dumped a heavy layer of snow over everything, making the world feel muffled and still. The woods behind my place looked darker and deeper than usual. I didn't mind the solitude, though. The house was warm, full of big windows, a stone fireplace, and that cozy cabin atmosphere that made me fall in love with it. The first night was normal, at least until late. I stayed up watching videos in the living room, half asleep by midnight. Eventually, I shut off the TV and headed to my bedroom at the end of the hall. Like the rest of the house, the room had huge floor-to-ceiling windows and a sliding glass door facing the woods. It made sense for the location, but sometimes it felt eerie. My own reflection in the glass could startle me. But this night felt different. Right after I turned off the lights and got into bed, I heard something outside, a soft cracking sound. Not the usual forest noise. This was louder, like someone stepping on a thick branch. A couple seconds later, it happened again. I sat up and stared toward the window. With the lights off, I could see outside clearly. For about half a minute, nothing moved. Then, something shifted between the trees. It wasn't a clear shape, just a quick motion, a shadow slipping between two pines, like someone leaning in or out of view. I couldn't tell. Everything went still again. I watched 4 minutes, my nerves building, wondering if my eyes were just inventing shapes in the dark. Eventually, I got up, checked the sliding door lock twice, and crawled back into bed. It took forever to fall asleep. Every half minute I'd open my eyes and glance at the window, expecting to see something. But there was nothing. The next day felt wrong, not in any obvious way. Just a constant sense that someone was standing just out of sight. I kept glancing at windows behind me, half expecting to see a face staring in. I never did, but the feeling clung to me all day. When night came, snow started falling again, which oddly made me feel safer. I figured no one would be wandering around in that cold. I tried to relax. Around 10 p.m., I was wrapped in a blanket by the fireplace watching TV. The glow from the screen lit most of the house, so I didn't realize how dark everything else was until I got up to grab a soda. As I walked down the hall, I noticed the light in the small den was off. I was sure I'd left it, and I always did, so the house wouldn't feel like a cave. I flipped it back on, grabbed my drink, and returned to the couch. Maybe a minute later, I casually glanced over my shoulder. The light was off again. A cold rush went through me. I stood and walked just far enough down the hall to see the switch. It was flipped down. Someone had turned it off. Someone was in that room. It felt like they were trying to draw me in. I backed away slowly. My phone was charging in my bedroom. My car keys were by the front door. Primera ni dead. Both no. I slipped into the other hallway and into my room. I grabbed my phone and froze. Something moved behind the glass. At first, all I saw were faint footprints in the new snow. Then my eyes followed them to a tall figure standing just a few feet from the window, completely swallowed by darkness, but unmistakably watching me. I bolted down the hall toward the front door. As I grabbed my keys, I heard footsteps do sets somewhere on the other side of the house. I flung the door open and sprinted to my car. As soon as I got inside, that same figure came charging around the corner of the house toward me. I started the engine and tore down the driveway, glancing back only once to see him standing where my car had been, watching me flee. It took police over half an hour to reach my property. What they found was horrifying. Several windows smashed, the interior torn apart, doors ripped off hinges, cabinets destroyed, furniture overturned, dents and gouges in the walls. Primera told them he heard 2 people inside and saw 1 outside, but the damage made it impossible to tell how they'd gotten in without me noticing. I stayed in a hotel for weeks, repairing the house and preparing to sell it. I couldn't shake the thought that 3 people had been stalking me for who knows how long. If I hadn't escaped, I don't want to imagine what would have happened. Even now, I have nightmares of walking toward that dark room, knowing something waited just out of sight. Thanks for listening to my story. If you have a scary story of your own, share it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.